Once Human is a multiplayer open-world survival game set in a strange post-apocalyptic future, where you get to shoot and kill zombies and different creatures, loot and find different gear and other items needed for survival, gather resources, build a house, and even fight bosses with your friends or play against other enemies. All this in an open-world MMO. Let's not waste any time, let's dig into it.
Yeah, boy.
Before I could even start playing the game, I had to wait for 1,000 people ahead of me and almost 1 hour of wait time. They had this as an open beta and they had to close it down because there was way too many people who wanted to play the game. You can still sign up for beta. Every Friday they're giving out from 3,000 to 5,000 keys, so you still have a chance to play this game. At the start of the game, you need to create your character. And right then and there, I was amazed by how many different customizations you could do to your character alone. From picking different faces, to the makeup, to even adjusting the hair, body type. It's just, wow, man. I was really impressed. Action starts from you waking up in the lab, where the researcher comes up to you, checks your vitals, and then something happens, and here you are, you were born. Beginning of the game is more like a tutorial where you go through and learn different basic controls of combat, to heal your first, which button is to shoot, and what to do. You do get to meet some zombies in the beginning, and this is where I was even more impressed. You get to actually use their weapons, which is kind of like really good in the survival, because even if you don't have a weapon, you kill somebody, you take theirs and move on. I picked up this lamp just from the beginning basically, and you could just burn your enemies. Another thing in the tutorial they showcased was this briefcase that shoots money, which I found really weird, but it is kind of a weird game, so more or less expected, but +1 for an idea. In the tutorial, again, you also go through some two-dimensional kind of walls, where I found a crate and my first weapon, which was a wrench and a couple of Molotov cocktails. Eventually you meet this creepy blindfolded girl, which tells you like, hey, I'm gonna take you to another world.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
We wind up at this house where she tells me that the enemy is getting very strong and we need to prepare ourselves. And this is where the real action begins. I go outside the house and all of a sudden I see this big, a post, if that's what you want to call it, or a tower, basically creeping up from the ground. It gets up and I found a machine gun on the floor and just started blasting it. He was deploying some sort of different creatures from the ground, and then there was also some flying creatures as well. It took me some time to kind of kill it, so I'm just going to fast forward over it here, but you get the idea. They kind of give you a preview of letting you know like, hey, this is what you're going to see in the real world. Once I killed the satellite tower, I got back to the house and the girl basically told me that, hey, you're ready to go. And I literally got dropped from the sky, holding off to this bird, which they called it V, and it is also your guide later in the game. You could literally fly and land anywhere you want. And as soon as I landed, I noticed that my water was really low, so nearby I found some water. But as I was drinking water, I noticed that my sanity was going down, and that's because I was drinking dirty water. That's how I found out during later in the game you can also make some clean water and then it doesn't affect your sanity. This being a survival game, you need food, and I found plenty of it. You can everywhere see different animals, from deers to actually even picking up berries and corn and cooking those and eating them as well. There's no problems with food. You can definitely find it all over the map, which is a great thing. It's not like that they're going to be hustling you just for the resources where you're going to spend most of your time. No. Another surprise was that I was able to meet other players early in the game, and this was like throughout all over the map. Everywhere I at least met somebody, and you can also invite them to your team or ask them to join your team or even your warband. Later in the game, I met another two guys which seemed like they were in the same team, and they were at the same base where I was. They basically helped me out with even clearing out some zombies. But before you can do that, what you need to do is you need to set up a camp in the beginning of the game. which I found it a little bit difficult because there's already a lot of other camps on this territory, so I had to run around a bit and find a spot. At this camp, you can do two things: craft with bare hands or craft gear. In the craft bare hands, you basically just make some basic pickaxe, or you can cook your food. And in the craft gear, you can do the armor crafting, and you can also do weapon crafting. And again, this is just basic stuff for now. This is where I crafted my first crossbow, which I really liked a lot in this game. It's fun to play with. As I progressed a little bit through the game, I was able to craft my first full set of gears. It looked good, and I wasn't naked anymore. When it comes to the progression in this game, there's a lot to do. So you get to do the simple tasks, which eventually go into your journey. And then as you finish your journeys, you unlock more and more stuff. That's only one of the things that you can do. There's also on the map a lot of different strongholds and side camps that you can get into, and they also have additional tasks. Really a lot tons to do, so you will never get bored. You also have achievements, you also have collections, and yeah, just really, really amazing with how much they were able to get into it. You also have memetics, which is basically like a map of different tasks. As you progress through the game, they'll give you points. You can use those points to unlock different things, from like territory construction to facilities to gear, and you keep upgrading this as you progress through the game. When it comes to territory construction, this is where I was able to basically lay a foundation by getting a territory terminal. You can place it anywhere on the map, except it cannot be too close to other territories, and it cannot be too close to the strongholds. But you can basically put it anywhere on the map. You can also, if you don't like the location that you pick from the beginning, you can move it down later at any point, as long as you find a decent spot with enough space for your base. To do base building, you do need some resources, which is basically like wood and stone, and you can find them also anywhere on the map. It's not a problem. Once I built up my base a bit and my gear, I visited a village nearby. This is where, as you see on the top left corner, you get to some additional tasks that you can do. It's basically like defeating some enemies, find some weapons and gear crates, or like find some mysterious like treasures. I was able to do all of them, but this is where I was surprised like that there's much more to do. It was also completely, again, open world. There's a lot of those different villages on the map that you can like go through. But this is also where I got caught by a surprise, like in this clip. Whoa, what the hell? Dude, the damn thing scared me, bro. And yes, it got me twice. Whoa. I was able to find quite a lot of zombies there, and I did find all the loot that was basically highlighted as additional tasks, where I found my first blueprint and some other things. As you can see from this small village, how much loot I was able to find. Yeah, so it is definitely not empty villages that you go to and barely find anything, unlike, or don't find any zombies or any other things to fight. The day before, for example, I went back to the camp after that and was able to actually boil some water now. I also created a sealed flask, which you can get the dirty water and then come back to this camp and then you boil it. Yeah, as you see, you can get cabbage, you can roast corn, roast potato, meat as well. Quite a lot of things that you can do as far as like food and everything else. Just you could tell how much time they really put into this game and to the details. When it comes to the gear, to the weapons, you can add mods as well. You can even add silencers and add scopes to them. You can also add mods which give you different extra contributors. For instance, extra like 20% power, or maybe even a sight. I was able to find a couple of those later during the game. For melee as well, you also get mods. So yeah, everything is pretty much customizable and you can adjust it like to your needs. And look how huge this map is, right? I'm just in this little corner and I've only visited a couple of these places. But in general, the map is really huge, and they say that they're gonna keep opening it up. And I know that people who progress to like level 20, 30, 40, and I think I'm at the level 10 now, they basically like gone pretty far into different places. So it is really open world. Once I built up my gear and I picked up this blueprint for this revolver, I decided to go and find some different locations. So I went to this stronghold, or you can call like a mission, I guess. And I was fighting this, and if you call it a boss or whatever, which was really weird. It kind of like throws something to the bottom at you. So once I killed it, I did get pretty decent gear for it. I was deploying also quite a lot of zombies as well. But yeah, it's really cool, like the differences in the zombies, or creatures, if I should say. I need to start calling them zombies, duh. This is also where I met other players, and they helped me kind of to get rid of some of those creatures. I also did get to try the Molotov cocktail as well. It is kind of fair, so it didn't really like kill them right away. It did took out some health, and then you still had to finish them off. So which I think is cool, that it's not overpowered. As I progressed further, I eventually got to this military base, I believe it was, or some sort of like a lab, where there was flooded basically with different types of zombies, some of them that I've never seen in the game before up to this point, which is like they do kind of different things as well. So some things that you don't really expect. There was an umbrella thing that kept like throwing some purple rain, and would take out like, I would take so much damage. Again, I met the other players there as well, just to highlight that other players are everywhere on the map and you meet them. I also got to find some secret place, if that's what you call it. I was able to use a canister to explode it, and then I found some peppercorn and sugar in there, which is, I'm not sure if those are rare. There was a task where you basically had to load coordinates into this rift anchor. Once you did that, you was able to progress further and eventually fight the big boss. But before I got there, I still had to kill plenty of different creatures, so I've basically used up most of the ammo that I had with my pistol. So when I went to kill the boss, I was nearly empty. I get to the boss, which they call them Foul Shadow Hunter, level 10. It did say before I got into this mission, or into this boss level, it did say that it is required to have 2 players at least level 10, which I was almost level 10, I believe. But at the same time, I didn't have, as I mentioned before, any ammo left. So barely, I think, only a few bullets. LOL! Yeah, noob mistakes. I still tried to fight him. And what I also didn't know is, which I found out later, first, in order to kill this guy, he's basically immune. And what you need to do is you first need to destroy this machine gun that he has. And then only after that he will take damage, which at that time, as I was playing this game for the first time, I didn't know. Eventually, after running around and using everything that I had, I decided to go. And yes, I did die. I get to go back there again, and actually I'll do this right. So this is everything pretty much that I've got so far. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the game and if you're going to be playing it. Also let me know if you like the game or not so far from what you've seen, and if you actually played right now. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, as it does take me a long time to create these videos. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, peace.